So now you have a happily married, successful businessman with a wife and kids, addicted to two things: prostitution and pornography. And a third one on the way, which is alcohol. So suddenly these business trips become very dangerous. And he doesn't really want to go on them, but then there's an excitement inside of him that says, I'll get away from the kids and my wife. I can go to the lolly shop, which is the brothel, have a few beers, get solicited by several young prostitutes that all look really nice and lovely by the time you've had a few beers. And they all think you're Mr. Big, with your suit, collar tie and your paint and leather shoes, cufflinks, and your credit cards, which by this time are suddenly getting overloaded. And that's the scenario. I mean, even with pornography, I've said before that the word porno comes from the word porno in Greek, which actually means the writings of the prostitutes. Pornography was a little dirty drawings showing men having sex around the prostitute's doorway, so that passers-by could see and look and get turned on with their eyes. So this businessman's addicted, and it represents a big part of the business world out there. Some companies pay the bill for prostitution. They get the client having a good time, suss them out, get a few drinks down them, and suddenly end up in a brothel or a nightclub. When of course you might go to the nightclub and it's a lap dancing place maybe, where the girls strip naked for money and dance around on your lap. You're not allowed to touch. It's just like the businessman who went to the strip joint. Same scenario, except a little bit more subtle. She's available to be taken upstairs. But you see the businessman suddenly fighting for life within his brain, because he has two lives now. And a lot of the sales guys have broken marriages, or they're young guys that haven't got partners as yet, or they have partners but they're not married. So they don't see anything wrong with it. They laugh about it, they brag about it. And it's not just a businessman, it happens on a lot of those sports trips. When you're a guy that used to, he was a travel agent, used to book all the planes and that for these sports trips. First thing the guys used to do when they turned up there was they'll get together, they'd have a few drinks, and they'd go to the prostitute, to the brothel, get laid, then go out on the town, and then go to the sports match that they'd paid the trip for, and then go home to their wives and girlfriends. With pornography, I know guys in the software game, addicted to pornography. Dirty pictures being sent back and forth throughout the office. And of course there's a compromise in a lot of these places too, because of the whole gay thing. A lot of the management and that are gay. I know of one particular business where the general manager had a massive phone bill, and that was mostly to Cambodia, organising trips to go and hook into these little boys. He was into that. He was a gay boy. Bisexual girls, you know. You see, we're in a world that's fraught with a problem, and it ain't going to get better. Pornography's the fastest growing industry on the internet. All you have to do is dial in sex, or dial in any form of sex you want to have a look at, you know, whether it be BDSM, beating people up there with a whip, leather, anal objects, homosexuality, horses, animals, dogs, you name it, it's there. Child pornography. The sickness in society begins in a lot of those areas and then gets really terrible. A couple of examples in the Bible is Sodom and Gomorrah. When the angels turned up down there in bodily form in Sodom and Gomorrah, if they'd stayed out on the street, they would have got raped. And these were guys, raped by guys. They were taken into this guy Lot's place, and even then the male populace came to the door and tried to bash it down to get into these guys, because they were straying new flesh, you know, clean flesh, like in prisons, you know, when they see these guys coming in, they say, oh, there's some new meat. That was Sodom and Gomorrah, which was a very wealthy place back in the early days. Abraham and his nephew Lot lived around that area. Abraham lived up on the hills and Lot lived down in Sodom and Gomorrah. Very wealthy place, and it got blasted by God because of that whole scenario. Once that sickness hit society, it's hit our society already. Our society is heading for destruction because of our sexual addictions and our sexual habits, which have now turned into perversity. We're in for it big time, and it's heading down towards us very quickly.